Hello, this is Mario with DataMighty, bringing you an Excel tutorial on the COUNTIF, COUNTIFs, SUMIF, and SUMIFs formulas. The written tutorials can be found in the description box down below if you want to follow that way. Usually, I will only go over one function or formula per video, but since they're so similar, I thought I'd combine them all into just one single video for you guys to see. So let's start with the data set itself. So we have the transaction type and the purchase price. And now let's say we want to find how many of them are cash transaction. And yes, you can count them, or yes, you can sort them and do it that way to figure this out. But if you have dynamic data sets where they update regularly, you can just have a single formula that will update automatically, and you don't have to worry about sorting and filtering and doing all these different things. Now let's look at the COUNTIF formula itself. It has two portions, so let's start with equals COUNTIF, and the first portion is the range that you want to look at. So for us, it would be this list here. This is the list that we want to count cash transactions. And now the second portion, you press comma. Now we're at the second portion, is the criteria. So what do we want to count? In our case, in this case here, we want to count cash transactions. So make sure to always put this in double quotes. So you'll do double quotes, cash, and the double quotes, and parentheses. So we have 8 cash transactions. Now let's look at the SUMIF formula. It's very similar to the COUNTIF formula, it just has one extra step. So we'll start it the same way, equals SUMIF, and we'll start with the range again, comma. We'll look at the criteria, which we want cash transactions. So double quotes, cash, and the double quotes, comma. And now we're at the third portion. So this is the portion that we want to sum. So this is the range that we actually want to add together. So in our case, it's going to be here, the purchase price. And the parentheses, press enter. So those 8 transactions that we counted of cash transactions sum up to $543,740. So you actually aren't just limited to count text. You can actually count and sum different records based off a value. So in this case, we're going to count all values that have a transaction over $50,000. So it's the same exact process where it's equals COUNTIF, open parentheses, the range in this case is actually going to be purchase price, comma, and then again double quotes, greater than symbol, 50,000, double quotes, and parentheses, enter. So we have 16 records that have a purchase price over $50,000. Now let's do the same thing for SUMIF. So we're going to do SUMIF equals SUMIF, open parentheses, the range of the purchase price, the criteria, which is double quotes, greater than 50,000, and the double quotes, comma. And again, in the SUMIF formulas, the last portion of the formula is exactly what you want to sum and add together. In this case, it's going to again be the purchase price, and then end the parentheses. So out of those 16 transactions over $50,000, when you sum them together, they're going to be $1.3 million. So we just went over formulas that counted a single criteria. But now what happens if you want multiple criteria? What if you want 2 or 3 or 4 different criteria and you want to sum and count those records together? So in this case, we would have to use this COUNTIFs and the SUMIFs formulas. So let's look at all the transactions that are cash transactions and have a purchase price over $50,000. It's structured in a similar way where we start with equals COUNTIFs with an S at the end, and we start with the criteria range, and then we press comma, and then we select the criteria, and then we keep going on and on. So after we do the first range and after we do the first criteria, we'll go to the second range, and then we'll do the criteria for that second range, and then so on and so forth. So our first range is the transaction type, comma, double quotes, cash. So first range and criteria done. Next one is the purchase price. So let's select the purchase price, comma. What's our second criteria? Well, we want everything over $50,000. So we'll do greater than symbol, 50,000, and the double quotes and the parentheses, enter. So we have 6 records which are cash transactions and have a purchase price over $50,000. So the final formula that we're going to go over is SUMIFs, and it's very similar to what we just did. However, it's slightly backwards. So we'll start with equal SUMIFs, and the reason I say it's backwards is because we actually put in the sum range first. So the range that we want to sum together is what we'll select, which is the purchase price, comma, and now we'll do the same exact thing just like we did before. So we'll do the range, the criteria, the second range, the second criteria, the third range, the third criteria, and so on and so forth. So our first criteria is transaction type, and we want cash, and that's our first range and first criteria. And now we'll look at our second range. Our second range is purchase price because we want all cash transactions over $50,000, comma, and our criteria of that is greater than $50,000 and the double quotes and parentheses, enter. So for those 6 transactions, those 6 cash transactions over $50,000, if we add their purchase price, it'll end up being about $472,000. Thank you for watching. If this helped you out, please press thumbs up. I know this video was a little longer than what I usually upload, but since they were so similar, all these formulas were so similar, I wanted to combine them into one single video. If you have any questions or any requests, please post them down in the comments below. Please check out the YouTube channel if you want to see more videos like this. And if you want to test yourself, your candidates, or your students, we also have Excel tests ranging from beginner to expert level on the website. I'll link to that down below. Thank you again for watching.